Hi, I'm Martin Felsen. Welcome to CityDesign, the channel where we explore how we shape cities and how cities shape us. Today's question is, if the US Declaration of Independence were a city, what would it look like? Let's start with a moment from television history. Gen Xers like me grew up watching 60 Minutes. Mike Wallace, Leslie Stahl, even Andy Rooney. We trusted these people to deliver honest information. Back in 1957, before 60 Minutes, a young Mike Wallace sat down with the architect, Frank Lloyd Wright. Here's a quick clip of the mid-century interview.
Tonight, we go after the story of one of the most extraordinary men of our time. You see him behind me? He's 88-year-old Frank Lloyd Wright, perhaps the greatest architect of the 20th century, and in the opinion of some, America's foremost social rebel.
In the interview, Wright didn't hold back. He never did. He called American cities great monuments to power and greed. To Wright, the city was outdated. It had served its purpose, but new technology, he believed, made it obsolete. Wright's critique came with a vision, a totally different way to live. That alternative was Broadacre City. Wright's solution wasn't urban, it was anti-urban. No downtowns, no pedestrians, no central business district. Instead, open land, personal autonomy, and infrastructure built around the automobile. This is Wright's original drawing of Broadacre City. He continued to edit this plan for decades. And here's a recent visualization of Broadacre City. I'll credit new renderings in the description below. Wright believed two inventions at the time, the phone and the car, had shattered the logic of traditional cities. Wright looked forward to the day when dense, crowded places like Chicago would wither and dwindle away. One of my favorite quotes from Wright is, "Watch the little filling station. It is an agent of decentralization." He wrote this in the early 1930s. Wright imagined roadside gas stations evolving to become new civic centers and new marketplaces, proto-shopping malls, hubs of cultural activity. This was a truly prophetic vision of mid-century modern America. He also looked into the future and envisioned new transportation technologies, vertical takeoff aircraft or aerators that could land by your doorstep. Also, new kinds of aerodynamic motor cars would deliver us to destinations in comfort and style. In Broadacre City, Americans would re-inhabit the landscape. By doing so, we would reacquire the rural virtues of individual freedom and self-reliance. Every family would get at least 1 acre of land. The home was the center of life, surrounded by fresh air and sun. People would live far enough apart for privacy, but close enough to feel part of a community. Wright drew from the ideas of communitarians who advocated for a daily balance of manual and intellectual work, a path to human wholeness that modern life had eroded. Wright believed that personal freedom and dignity, grounded in land ownership, were essential to social harmony and a safeguard against class conflict. Wright imagined that Broadacre City would also include social programs like free education and healthcare, food cooperatives, and nationalized banks. Broadacre City would be a decentralized utopia, rooted in the rural virtues of self-sufficiency and individual freedom. So how would Broadacre work? Each region would be overseen by a county architect. Yes, architects would run the local government. Wright said that they would be essential interpreters of America's humanity. Public buildings would be placed safely in traffic-free zones. Kids would walk independently to school and recreational areas. Everyone would walk together to central galleries, concert and lecture halls, gardens and pools. For Wright, land wasn't just property, it was a birthright. Describing organic architecture, he wrote, "The ground itself predetermines all features of the city." His prairie houses embodied this idea, long, low forms with cantilever roof lines that seemed to grow from the earth. Wright designed 4 kinds of houses for Broadacre City: a 1-car house, a 2-car house, a 3-car house, and a 5-car house. Stated more functionally, there are small and medium houses with workshops, large professional houses with laboratories, and very large houses for machine-age luxury living. Other interesting design features of the houses include roof gardens and overhangs that cast deep shadows to keep the houses cool. Wright's Usefulness houses on ample property, small and efficient, proved prophetic. Sprawling suburbs adopted the logic throughout America after World War II. In retrospect, although we didn't get the universal land ownership as imagined in Broadacre City, we did get the cars, the suburbs, the sprawl, and the gas stations. Much of Wright's vision came true, just not entirely in the way he intended. And Wright wasn't working in a vacuum. His vision was rooted in ideas from America's founding. The U.S. Declaration of Independence, written primarily by Thomas Jefferson, established the foundational principles that align with the agrarian ideals underpinning Broadacre City. The Declaration emphasizes individual rights and self-sufficiency, which Jefferson believed would thrive in a society of yeoman farmers, independent landowners cultivating their own plots of land. Wright's Broadacre City echoed that vision. Wright believed in minimal government, maximum freedom, and architecture that empowered citizens, not big corporations or governments. Jefferson's fear of concentrated power aligned with Wright's dislike of cities. Both saw dense urban centers as magnets for corruption, inequality, and tyranny. To both men, nature, not industry, was the path to democracy and virtue. Of course, not everyone agreed. Jefferson's agrarianism clashed with Alexander Hamilton's industrialism. Hamilton pushed for cities, manufacturing, and a strong technocratic government. In the Broadway play Hamilton, Hamilton sings, "A plan for America, a strong central democracy. If not, then I'll be Socrates, throwing verbal rocks at these mediocrities." Two visions, agrarian versus industrial, have shaped American urbanism ever since. Back in that 1957 interview with Mike Wallace, Wright lamented the direction Americans had taken.
Without the intelligence Thomas Jefferson thought would be ours in a democracy, we haven't manifested it. We can see now mediocrity rising into high places.
Wright feared the rise of mediocrity and the loss of individual sovereignty. He said our public buildings should express independence, not bureaucracy. Rather than inspired by great buildings in today's cities, Wright said he felt only regret.
Because it isn't the thing that really represents the spirit of independence and the sovereignty of the individual, which I feel should be represented in our edifices devoted to culture.
Ultimately, Wright designed buildings in cities that still today feel like declarations, not decrees. Thanks for watching this episode of City Design. If you're enjoying the journey through cities, real and imagined, please like and subscribe. See you next time.